So today we're going to be taking a look at a scenario where civilization starts over. Well, I'm happy today because guess what? We are on episode 30 of this series. That's a lot of episodes. Yeah, 30 episodes is pretty mental. So we're going to make it a big one today. Oof, you guys are going to like this episode. So I say, let's just get started with it, shall we? Now first, we come over to the French and the Dutch countries as we're going to see a very big event happen in the series. We have decolonization. The French and the Dutch, they have had enough of colonization. They don't like the impact it has on the world, and they are encouraging many other countries to stop colonizing or decolonize. Countries such as Albania will be like, well, I mean, this is just one big colony here, so like, why should we give it up? Some others are like, maybe we'll do it, maybe. But most of the Triangle Alliance is like, oh no, 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 no. They never want to give up their colonies. Their colonies are really the only thing keeping them extremely strong. If Germany didn't have their colonies, they would not have the same influence they have in the world at the minute. Like, their influence is huge. I could draw like a triangle sphere of influence, but it'd be like pretty much the entire world. So yeah, that's all you need explaining about this. But we're going to see decolonization over in America. Now the Dutch and the French are very close countries. They are very romantic. Not really, but they obviously they have the same kind of language, the same ethnicity with the people. So that's kind of what I meant to mention with the French. And they both, or the French, but the French and the Dutch, and they both also have very similar political ideologies. They're both democracies, and these democracies want to decolonize. So we're going to be seeing exactly that happen now. First, starting with the Dutch. The Dutch are going to release a pretty large country over here. This is kind of like a southern Quebec country. We then have a Newfoundland country over here. They're going to be in this region, this kind of limeish colour as well. I am going to give capitals to these nations once they are, every single one is filled out. I'm going to speed this up a little bit after this, but we have a greyish country now in this, I don't know, this is like a New Englandish region, but it would more be New Holland in this universe. Now we're going to see a big cluster of countries be created. And that's going to be these three. They are very similar in culture. They all come around the same region. We have this green one. These guys were the first that were released. They're going to take a few of these islands over here. So yeah. Also, this does match up with the provinces if anyone was worried about that. This orange one is going to take over New York Island and a few others. And this Michigan one will be over here. Now for the final two nations, we're going to have these two come in over here, kind of lightish green one and a pink one. These two are rather large. They do have the least population, however this one here, they have a decent amount of population. I guess this is Wisconsin, we have Michigan here, don't really know what to call these guys. We have Toronto, maybe New England, like Boston, I don't know what this is. We have Nova Scotia, and then we have a southern Quebec country here. And then like these guys. But this pink one is very weak. They have the least population out of all of them, and they are not very strong, like politically or economically. They have awful economy, awful population, and the people don't really like anyone. Anyway, now for capitals. We have this red one, who is probably the strongest who got released. They can have their capital here. We have this one have theirs over in Nova Scotia. We have these guys have their capital inland over here. Kind of there's like a canal that goes down this area, I believe. So they have it like by here for lots of trade. It comes down here to these guys. We have these guys have their capital near. I think this is where Toronto is, or near to that in real life. And then have these guys have theirs up in this northern area. The Wisconsin country is going to have theirs here. We have these guys have theirs in Delmarva, I believe it says. This is because this is where the French landed at first. And it is the most built up region of the entire French colony, or at least what was the French colony. Anyway, these guys finally are going to have their capital right here in the most populated city, which is not very populated, but still. And you can see a lot of these guys are kind of based around the Great Lakes. At least that's from the French colony. The Dutch colony don't even have any access to the Great Lakes. Anyway, that is the full decolonization of the French and Dutch North American areas. Now let's come down to Africa. Firstly, we actually see the Swedish country, or the Swedish, like kind of port they have down here that they were allowed by the French. They're going to be allowed to keep this. However, it could be given to a future country. And first and foremost, this full Dutch colony is just going to be released as a country like this. And we then over here have the returning of Djibouti, although it's not in Djibouti anymore, but they are going to have their capital in this part of Somaliland. So the capitals of both of these nations are going to be here, and these guys are going to have theirs in Mozambique over here. That's the Dutch area, and the French area is going to be a lot more complicated because they can't just be released as one country. These guys are a lot bigger. So here is the ugly divide of the French colony. Over here we actually have a country that used to exist, this orangish nation here. These guys were, they kind of settled along the coast of this region. They're in Angola, I guess. And while it's not really the same country, it is kind of, it does have the same kind of people. However, they are pretty unstable and they may collapse soon. Anyway, then over here we have this, this colour country. I don't really know what these guys are. They're like Namibia-ish. Then I have a dark peachish country over here, like a brownish, weird colour looking thing. So yeah. And then finally we see a green colour, and these borders look horrible. So yeah. But hey, it's African decolonization. You can't expect them to look nice, but they actually do look really bad. Okay, I switched the provinces around. So these guys are going to take some land, and this makes some of the countries out here really angry because this land they could have gotten, but oh well, too bad, too sad. These guys are going to have their capital here. I believe that's where it used to be. I actually kind of need to look. I think it was here, yeah. If it's not, then oh well. This Namibian country is going to have their capital here. These guys will have theirs in the middle for some reason, and you will have yours here. So that is the decolonization of Africa, at least for the French. Oh, there's also South America as well. We've got to get to that in a minute. Over here in the Dutch colony, we have this dark cyan country be released, and the colour is way too similar to Portugal, so I'm going to lighten that a little bit. This is a historic nation, so it's just going to be let go, as you can see here, and they're going to have their capital, I believe, where it used to be. I don't quite know though. And that is Asia and Europe decolonised for the colonisers of the French and the Dutch, but there's still South America left. Over here in Argentina, we have the French giving a southern country independence. They'll just have all of this over here. They're also going to take not the sea but this island. And then we have a dark red country, not the dark red union, appearing over here. The capital is going to be at the mouth of the river that's here, and this Argentinian capital is going to be down here. So Uruguay and Argentina have been given their independence now. So yeah, pretty awesome, I believe. That's full decolonization. I know there's Antarctica down here, but they don't really feel like giving it up. Mainly because, like, what's the actual point? There's no humans down here. Humans probably can't even survive down here. The only thing that's down here is, like, little penguins, and, like, don't really affect the penguins, aren't they? They will also hold on to this island. Oh, actually, let's make things a little bit interesting. Let's have them keep the Falklands as well. That's definitely not a reference to real life and other stuff that's going on with the Falklands. So, yeah, they're going to be able to keep the Falklands, and this will make the Argentina country quite mad, but like, you got your independence, so like, be happy about that, I guess. But anyway, that is full decolonisation for the French and Dutch, and the map definitely looks a lot more vibrant now. I do like it better than it was like a few minutes ago. Now we can move on to our other scheduled events, and yes, that's not the big event in this video. There will be another huge event which is going to change stuff. Over here we have Ukraine starting to mobilise their military a lot around the border of Russia, weirdly enough, and it's more so just like they are pumping lots of money into the military. In the last episode, they did join in the Persian Economical Alliance. This wasn't really because they are like fascist or anything, but what they are is wanting to improve their economy and military for an event that could be happening soon. So hey, I'm not going to say anything. These guys can do all the talking. Also, not going to the alliance layer, we have another country joining in on the Triangle Alliance. It's kind of weird. These guys haven't really got any members recently, but Vietnam will join in on the Triangle Alliance because they have gone intel the Burman country might want to invade them. And they don't really want that beef, so they're going to join up in this alliance to hopefully get protection, because Japan would smack these guys around. But that could also start like kind of a globalish conflict, because then we could have Neo-Persia get involved on the side of Burma, which would then cause a massive war all in Asia, which could then lead to, you know, these guys probably getting involved, and then World War II happens. Which, yeah, definitely not something you want to happen. But I didn't mention something about the countries that were let go of. There was a kind of a twist to them being let go of, and that's that the stronger ones would be forced to join into the Circle Alliance. Those ones are as such. We have this Canadian country up here joining. These guys are the strongest country that will let go from the Dutch colony to North America, so they will be able to join in. They're actually the second strongest country, non-colony in North America. These guys are the strongest, then it's these guys. Well, speaking of these guys, they also want to join in the Circle Alliance. Not really like anything, but they just join in because I said so. We also have the Wisconsin country over here join, and a lot of the border states with other countries like not actually many others. We do have the Toronto country join in though, so yeah, they could be useful, I guess. These guys aren't going to join in because if they try to go into any war, they'd probably explode. We do have this Namibian country. They're probably the strongest that was let go of in this alliance that we put into there and forced to be in it. Also have Djibouti, which is pretty much Somaliland now. What I'm still going to call it Djibouti. They promised all their old lands back if they joined in this war. We also have this Indian country here. They are also promised quite a decent chunk of India. And we also have the two South American countries joining in on the Circle Alliance, which turns the Circle Alliance from just a small pact with some other countries that feel threatened from the Triangle Alliance to a worldwide order of anti-triangleness. That doesn't make any sense, but hey, they have a country or two on every single continent except for Oceania, but that doesn't really matter. But they have one in Asia, that's India. They have two in Africa, two in South America, and four in North America. Not to mention the European side, they got a lot, and they also got this Magenta and the Red Team, They've got a lot of countries, really. And the Triangle, for the first time, will start to fear this, and they will go into lockdown. Bit of a crazy thing to say, but yeah, they will go into full-on lockdown. And I haven't really given a time frame for this video. The decolonization, that did not happen straight away. It probably took about 30, 40 years. So I'd say the end of the last video, we ended in about maybe 1970. We're now in the year 1913. That's a bit crazy. It's been a big time jump because there aren't really much happening. The world is pretty peaceful, except for the insane tensions in Europe. And it kind of comes to a boiling point when Ireland even joins up with the Circle Alliance. And a bit of a shock move. The Triangle is then going to look for many other members to join up with their alliance. Anywhere around the world, any country that may want to join up. They get no one, actually. Well, they are going to get one country. It could be kind of valuable in Africa. They get Egypt, which is strange, because Egypt's never really had any alliance to these guys. They've never really had anything related to the Triangles. But Egypt will join in, and this is gonna, you know how these guys had a war thousands of years ago. That doesn't matter now, but it's gonna kind of make it matter again. As the Red Team and the Blue Team will now have hostile relations on the border once again. So yeah, and these two countries have been very dormant recently. They did a lot in the ancient days, and they haven't done anything recently. The Red Team had their kind of alliance thing. I guess that was really the only thing the Red Team did. They were a lot more active than the Blue Team. The last thing that the Blue Team really did was rebel from Anatolia and also take a little bit of land, I think, in the Throne for Africa. But apart from that, no, nothing. But when this happens, this will fully put the world into a massive lockdown. Other alliances will start to worry, as now, all of the world has basically chosen a side, all the strong countries in the world. And many separatist moves will start to be funded in both alliances. And this will cause these guys to have major, hostile relations. This is some of the worst relations we've ever seen. There's also a really bad event when a Dutch citizen accidentally crosses into some German territory while he's having a hike, and he is taken then to the capital and publicly executed in front of a massive crowd. Yeah, that took a bit of a dark turn, wasn't it? This makes the Dutch furious at the Germans because you've just executed a member of our population. That is an act of war, and that word, act of war, is very scary. Does that mean these guys are going to go to war? No, surely not. We then have massive lockdowns. I said lockdown so many times. We have mass surveillance, I guess, being put into the Triangle countries, as they will look for any citizens who could be rowdy and then execute them. We are truly entering an age of awful stuff happening. And there's another member then that's added to the Circle Alliance, as Italy. Italy is a mental one, because in World War One, Italy wasn't allowed to join any alliance. This was part of the treaty that you were never allowed to join another alliance again. You are forced to be neutral from now on. And they did invade Corsica a few episodes ago, but that was just a little bit of expansion, and it kind of went under these guys' they didn't really care. But now they've joined on their alliance and they broke their act of neutrality. This is gonna truly make these guys extremely angry. They're just kind of making these guys angry for a game at this point. But then, eventually, it comes to a breaking point, as the Circles take something a step too far. Early in the day of January 1915, there'll be a small rebellion that breaks out in this city in Hungary. These guys are very anti-war, and they're not very strong. They just come to a breaking point. The Hungarian citizens, I don't know if I've mentioned this enough, but they hate being under this mass surveillance. kind of dictatorship thing. And when this rebellion starts, the Hungarians are going to be straight into this. It's an incredibly violent and brutal war, which will result in the city pretty much being massacred. A lot of people are killed, but a few people will stand out. They are from the French and Dutch ethnicity. And the Triangles will meet up in this city over here in Germany, all the leaders from the Triangle Alliance, and they'll discuss this. They said a few episodes ago that if these guys try to mingle in any other conflict, they did an island now is independent, and it's another country they have to fight against. But if these guys were to mingle in any other conflict, it would be an act of war. And in this, I think it was this city here, they will discuss this, and they'll come to a conclusion. The Circles have taken this game a step too far, and thus they shall not be able to do this without repercussions. What repercussions do you say, maybe? 3 days later, the German military, secretly mobilized, will start their invasion of Russia. They are very swift, and they are followed about a day later by the Hungarian military, who will also start their own campaign into Russia. We'll then, in the next few hours, have the official declaration of war from the Triangles to the Circle Alliance. World War II has begun. I'd like to thank you guys so much for watching today's video. World War II will be on the next one. This is going to be the biggest episode yet. And I hope you guys have enjoyed this, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.